Well, I was homeschooled in high school, and it was really difficult for me to meet people, and I went to high school just for 1 year into public school. I remember just walking in, it was first or second day of school, and I'm not kidding, I had a PB&J sandwich, and I go to the bathroom to eat because I didn't want to be seen. I felt like people were laughing at me. I was the new girl. And who wants to be friends with a new girl? I had to do my own thing. I started writing songs. I just got in my own little cocoon. I come from an Albanian family where we share all of our emotions, and it's taught me to really be helpful and reach out to someone if they're not like that. To say, hey, I know you're feeling bad about this certain thing, but don't put yourself down. You can't just focus on that one moment. And I would tell my friends that and my cousins when I saw they were down and they didn't feel good and didn't want to talk about their emotions, because I think it's super important to talk with somebody and seek help when you're not feeling mentally there, because we've all been there and it's normal. I think it's important to know that we all have challenges in our life. We all have problems in our life. We all go through ups and downs every single day. It's not out of the ordinary. We all feel down sometimes. I mean, I had a friend, she, got her heart broken, and she was just hurting herself mentally and not leaving her room, and she just felt so down after this breakup, and it wasn't healthy. So I went inside her room, turned on the lights, and was like, we're going shopping. I think it's important to help people when you see they're down. It doesn't have to be shopping. It could be going to watch a movie with your friend, or taking your friend out to dinner, or taking your friend for a walk just to talk. You can really help a lot of people just by knocking on their door and seeing how they are. A text hey, how are you doing? Make it about them. Reach out. I know I keep saying this, but it's so important. If you think your friend is struggling with mental health, reach out and start a conversation. For more tips, visit seizetheawkward.org.
There are certain events in Bristol that we look forward to every year, like Rhythm and Roots, the 4th of July and Christmas parades, the Spring and August race, and Food City Family Race Night. This year, Food City Family Race Night returns to downtown, and it's bigger than ever.
Family Race Night's really all about bringing the community together here in downtown Bristol to celebrate a few things. Number one, we think at Food City, we're all about the community and all about bringing families together. So I think that's first and foremost, about bringing people downtown to be together. But then it's about the race being in town. We have a great venue in Bristol Motor Speedway, and we have an event we sponsor each year with the Food City 300 and the Food City 500, and it's bringing race and community together in downtown just for a fun family night, just for people to get out and have a good time outside. When people come downtown, they can expect an experience. I think that's what it's all about, from free food vendors, where we have over 35 vendors giving out free samples, to entertainment on 2 stages with concerts throughout the day of the event, which starts at 1 and ends at 9. Race car drivers, we already have several confirmed from the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. They'll be downtown signing autographs. So they're young, up and coming stars now, but they will be the stars of tomorrow, so people will just have the chance to come and meet them. Also, several people from the community that will actually be here just handing out different giveaways and ways just to meet the community, mingle with the community, and just a great event that we're looking forward to downtown Bristol. We had a year off from downtown. One of the big things we heard was, we missed you. It's great to be missed, and it's good to be back, so we're excited to be back in downtown Bristol. This event is free to the public, so everybody can come down starting at 1, enjoy the entire day. One of the things new for this year, again, it's Food City Family Race Night, is we do have a new Kids Zone. So our Food City Kids Zone, where we're going to have tons of games and excitement and some things we're not ready to announce just yet, but we think we're going to have some really nice entertainment things for kids and families to do in the Kids Zone. So not only are we going to be a part of that, but our friends at Bristol Motor Speedway are going to be a part of the Kids Zone as well. So it should be a really exciting time for kids downtown. This event, Food City Family Race Night, has been going on for 32 years. So it's definitely part of Food City and everything we're doing. Again, I mentioned we went to the track last year for this August event, and didn't have the same feel. A lot of people missed us downtown. It's just amazing. You never knew how much it meant to people till we didn't have it downtown. And now to have the event back, just everybody is so excited. So entertainment for downtown Bristol on the main stage is going to be great this year. We have Caitlin Baker, who's from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. So we're excited about having her. She's done some great concerts throughout the communities which we operate, so she is excellent. We also have the Duggar Band. So from Greenville, Tennessee, the Duggar guys are just great. They do a wonderful concert, and people will love to come out and see the Duggar Band. They're from Greenville, Tennessee. I know some great people from Greenville, Tennessee. They will do a wonderful job.
Food City Family Race Night will take place on Wednesday, August 14th in downtown Bristol from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Every year, it costs Tennessee more than $15 million to clean up roadside litter. It's time to keep your trash to yourself and our roadways clear, because nobody trashes Tennessee.
On Wednesday, July 17th, the City of Bristol, Tennessee modified two formerly unregulated sections of parking in the downtown area. The two parking sections are adjacent to the Bristol Main Branch Post Office, located on northbound 6th Street between Broad Street and Shelby Street, and on eastbound Shelby Street between 6th Street and 5th Street. These sections are now posted as 2-hour parking from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
The Bristol First program was implemented in order to recognize employees for their valued service and commitment to reaching above and beyond their duties.
By going the extra mile for the citizens of our great city.
As a past winner, I am honored to be recognized by residents of the community we serve. If you are a citizen who has received assistance from a city employee that is worthy of recognition,
or a coworker who has witnessed an outstanding act of a peer,
we want you to let us know.
Go to www.bristoltn.org and submit your nomination form today. Briefly tell us about your nominee and what he or she has done to make our community a better place. Allow them to join us as a Bristol First Award winner.
Bristol, Tennessee City Council meeting of August 6th, 2019. Tara, would you please call the roll?
Luttrell?
Present.
Turner?
Present.
Robin?
Here.
Keen?
Here.
Powers?
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for attending tonight's meeting. Your interest in our city government is very much appreciated. There are a number of opportunities to speak on matters of city business this evening. A sheet explaining those opportunities has been made available to you when entering the meeting room. I think it's like a yellow colored. As we go forward with tonight's agenda, I'll note each time when public comment is welcome. In addition, there was a sign-up sheet provided as you entered for individuals who want to address City Council during the appearance of citizens section on our agenda. Tonight, former Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman Jack Young is here to lead us in our invocation, and Councilman Vince Turner is going to lead us in our pledge. Please stand.
Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity. If you'll pray with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to gather, and we thank you for our city leaders. We thank you for the wisdom and the abilities you give them to discern the big challenges that come before them. Pray your protection about them, and we thank you for letting us live in Bristol and giving us this great area to be part of. And I pray that you would help us to value the resources that are here in our area. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Sora, do you have any items to add to our agenda?
No, Mayor, the agenda is complete.
Thank you. We have one proclamation and one recognition on tonight's agenda. First, we have a proclamation designating the week of August 4th through 10th, that's this week, 2019 as Farmers Market Week in Bristol. Councilwoman Lee Powers is going to read the proclamation, and then Mr. Mike Music, Recreation Superintendent, is here to accept the proclamation.
Thank you. I grew up in a home of a family that was constantly in the garden, that had a couple of different farms throughout their lifetime, and the value that farmers and all those connected to them bring to our culture is so important. And so it's with my pleasure that I read this. Whereas farmers and ranchers provide citizens with access to healthful, locally and regionally produced foods through farmers markets, which are expanding and evolving to accommodate the demand for a diverse array of agricultural products. And whereas farmers markets and other agricultural direct marketing outlets provide infrastructure to assist in the distribution of farm and value-added products, thereby contributing approximately $9 billion each year to the U.S. economy. And whereas farmers markets can help promote child health and reduce childhood obesity by increasing children's access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And whereas farmers markets serve as significant outlets by which small to medium, new and beginning and veteran agricultural producers market agricultural products, generating revenue that supports the sustainability of small family farms and the revitalization of rural communities nationwide. And whereas the City of Bristol, Tennessee recognizes the importance of expanding agricultural marketing opportunities that assist and encourage the next generation of farmers and ranchers, generate farm income to help stimulate business development and job creation, build community connections through rural and urban linkages, and more. Now, therefore, to further awareness of farmers markets' contributions to our community, the Mayor of Bristol, Tennessee, Margaret Robin, does hereby proclaim the week of August 4th through 10th, 2019 as Bristol Farmers Market Week in conjunction with the observance of National Farmers Market Week. She asked that our citizens support the State Street Farmers Market, which takes place on Wednesdays and Saturdays, in recognition of the many contributions they make to daily life in the city of Bristol, Tennessee. This is the 6th day of August 2019.
Thank you. Next, we have recognition with our Bristol First Award program. We're going to recognize 4 of our public service employees. The city has over 340 full and part-time employees that serve the community on a daily basis. We frequently hear of employees that go above and beyond in their service. The Bristol First program has been developed to recognize those efforts. Tonight, we honor our latest recipients of the Bristol First Award. Ms. Terry Talbert, Ms. Ann Dunham is in Community Relations, is here to give us a brief overview of the program and to announce tonight's winners.
Good evening. Mayor, as you noted, the Bristol First Award was created in October of 2014 to recognize the city's most valuable resource, employees who distinguish themselves by performing their job duties with integrity and respect for others, delivering service that exceeds expectations and demonstrates a commitment to continuous improvement. Tonight's recipients are a shining example of how attention to detail and the right attitude can make a positive impression on a member of our community. The nomination for this award came from Ms. Cheryl Richmond, a retired teacher of our city schools. Ms. Richmond lives alone and, like many of her neighbors in the Fairmount area, pays close attention to neighborhood activity. So, of course, she and other nearby homeowners noticed when a crew from the Public Works Division began replacing the sidewalks along George Avenue. Ms. Richmond immediately noticed the great care these employees took to get their work done effectively and efficiently, working as a team and demonstrating respect for the private property adjacent to their work site. The crew was polite and professional, she said, and took time to answer questions from area residents as they worked. When the project was complete, these 4 individuals carefully inspected the work and cleaned up around the work site. Then they went the extra mile, removing hedge trimmings from Miss Richmond's yard and rolling her trash can from the curb back to her home. This small gesture made a huge impact on Miss Richmond and reminds us all how important our good deeds can be. Tonight, it is my pleasure to announce the Bristol First Award winners for July 2019, Greg Cotter, Robert Beber, Caleb Russell, and Jonathan Baumgardner. Gentlemen, please come forward and accept your award from Mayor Fire Robin.
Thank you all very, very much for the work that you do. We appreciate you every day. So next on our agenda, we have presentations, but we do not have any tonight. So, and we thank all the family members who attended. We appreciate y'all too. We have a public hearing, and we hereby open a public hearing for ordinance 19-5, amending the zoning map of the city of Bristol by rezoning property located at 1 Central Drive from B3 General Business to M2 General Industrial District. Mr. Soar, would you please summarize this for the public?
Yes, Mayor, I'd be glad to. As you indicated, ordinance 19-5, which was approved on first reading last month and is before you in the way of a public hearing and then considered later this evening in the agenda for second reading. It does propose to rezone the property at 1 Center Drive, which is part of the estate of Francis L. Leonard and was requested by the state to be rezoned from B3 General Business District to M2 General Industrial District. The uses are significantly different between the two. Production, warehousing, manufacturing, those are uses that are typically found in an M zone that would not be found in a business zone. This rezoning request went before our Planning Commission on June 17th and received a unanimous approval for recommendation. As I indicated, this is on your agenda for second reading consideration later this evening. Ms. Sherith Young, who's our Planning Services Manager, is at the podium to further detail the issue for you.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening. I'll start with a map here that shows the location of the parcel that's subject for the rezoning request tonight. The parcel is outlined in blue and is zoned B3. As you can see from the map on the screen, the surrounding zoning is M2, which is the General Industrial District, which is what the request is for the parcel that's zoned B3 to be rezoned to that M2 zoning as well. Surrounding the property, you do have some commercial, you do have some vacant uses, and then you have some industrial uses. As Mr. Soares stated in his introduction, there are some differences in the uses allowed in each of these zoning districts. In the B3 district, you have more of your business uses that you would see up and down our commercial corridors. This list includes some of those businesses. You have banks, offices, hotels, motels, gas stations, some different commercial businesses like that. I'll flip to a slide here that shows the M2 zone allowed uses, and you have much more of your manufacturing uses that are allowed in those zones. You have coal yards, you have motor fuel stations, truck terminals, warehouses, and all of your manufacturing uses that will be allowed in that M2 zone. This map excerpt that's on the screen shows a portion of our future land use map, which is one of the things that we use to make rezoning recommendations to the Planning Commission. You'll see on the map that the area that's highlighted with a red circle is in pink, which stands for a commercial land use designation. The gray that's back behind the pink color indicates industrial use. This is one of the tools we use. We also use the policies that accompany the map, and some of those policies that support this rezoning request talk about that the rezoning would meet Policy 3, which talks about sustaining existing commercial areas while providing for adequate and compatible growth and expansion. And then the policy number 4, which says that we should look to provide land and infrastructure to sustain and promote industrial growth. So staff felt in the recommendation to the Planning Commission that this rezoning request does meet with those policies. Flipped too fast. As Mr. Soares stated, this was recommended for approval to you by the Planning Commission at their June meeting. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone here have any questions? If not, I'll ask if there's anyone here tonight that would like to address City Council on this matter, on this particular matter. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move on. Next is appearance of citizens. This section provides an opportunity for the public to address City Council on any matter that's not on the printed agenda for formal consideration tonight. Comments are limited to matters of city business only, and response is not always possible, since in many cases the council or city manager have not been made aware or ready to effectively respond to a concern. If that happens, the city manager will look into the matter, report back to us, or as appropriate, have staff meet with folks in an effort to satisfy concerns. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. They're non-transferable to other individuals. Groups are encouraged to select a spokesperson to represent them. And I've been provided with a list of folks who would like to speak with us this evening. When you get to the podium, if you'll give your name and address, and that's necessary for our minutes to keep track. Keith Yonker is first person here, if I pronounced that correctly.
Oh, yes. Mayor, City Council, thank you for the time. My name is Keith Yonker. I'm the owner of the Angry Italian on 6th Street. I know there's a few business owners on 6th Street that are here this evening expressing some concern, just as much as I am, regarding the sidewalk situation that has taken place on 6th Street. I, for one, am for progress of 6th Street. I think it's a great thing that the City of Bristol is trying to improve the facets of the businesses, myself and the other businesses on 6th Street. But we have one major problem, and that is a parking problem on 6th Street. To this day, I am still asking people to not park in the street, not just in front of my restaurant, but down the street as well, which is causing traffic to drive on that beautiful new sidewalk you all installed. I, for one, will not install tables until I know that there will be no traffic being diverted to the sidewalks, that there's some sort of partition, and there's some sort of resolve to the parking there. It's tough. There's a parking lot adjacent across the street from 6th Street, and it's just riddled with tow away, do not park, we will tow you if you park here. My guests, clients of other people, are afraid to park down on 6th Street and any other lot because they're afraid they're going to get towed. And there just is nowhere for us to direct our guests and our customers and our clients. I think that it should have been maybe brought to the attention of the citizens of exactly what is going to happen at 6th Street. I know there was a forum at a breakfast in January sometime. I did attend a meeting with this council and consultants when they came in talking about that, and there was great talk about State Street, 6th Street, and the other streets. And I did get to talk to some of the consultants. They felt me out regarding business and what I thought about improvements. But I, as a businessman and as a citizen of Bristol, I think that it should have been maybe laid out a little differently and planned out and just thought out just a little bit more, because the parking is an atrocious situation down there. And I don't hear it just from them, I'm hearing it from my guests as well. This week and last week, I've taken verbal threats from citizens, customers, because they are accusing me of the sidewalk. I'm the only cafe, per se, restaurant on 6th Street. So the way it is, it's a cafe. They want to make a cafe setting. Guess who's the only restaurant on 6th Street? Keith's Angry Italian. So all the fingers are being pointed at me. I just want to set record that I did not put that sidewalk in there. I make pizzas. I don't pour concrete.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So, thank you. All right, next it's Louis Foreman. And again, I'll remind you to give your, I think we asked for your personal address. And which we have Keith Yonkers on our list. And also just remind you 3 minutes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. My name's Louis Foreman. I'm at 6th Street in Bristol, Tennessee. I'm the longest paying tenant in the Central building in Bristol. I just realized that. I've realized my age now. I've been in that building for 30 years. I've seen a lot of changes in Bristol during that time, a lot of improvements. Downtown looks so much better than it did years ago. It's really great to be a part of that and to see the changes that have been made, the good decisions that have been made from our leaders, from the city government, and from our elected officials. A lot of good things have taken place. On 6th Street, parking has always been an issue. It's always been a problem. As Bristol has done better, it's made the parking worse. We've accepted that there. It's just part of the deal of Bristol, for the betterment of Bristol, but it's always been an issue. The decision to take away, I think, 64% of the parking spaces has definitely created havoc down there. I mean, it's a bad situation. It hurts every business that I know of on 6th Street. I don't know anybody that's benefiting from this. There's only one restaurant. I'm aware of the fact that he's taking abuse. I've heard that too. Everybody thinks that was his idea to put it in because nobody else benefits from it except maybe a restaurant to have cafe dining. But there is no cafe dining. What it's done is take away the parking spaces. This has created situations where just people are angry. People are driving on the sidewalk. People are parking spaces where they're not supposed to park. We've even got the delivery people who've got to take packages in. They have no place to park their trucks. They'll park with two wheels on the sidewalk and run in and run out, so somebody else will try to drive around them. People are fighting for parking spaces. They're angry. There's verbal abuse going on there. There's people flipping middle fingers. It's a bad situation. So, again, I think nobody wanted to create this problem. I mean, I think the people that everybody runs for city council, they say I'm pro-business, and I think people are. And I think the good decisions versus the bad decisions, the good decisions are way up here. There's so many more good decisions that have been made than bad decisions. But this is one that's not a good one. It's going to be a real tough thing for somebody to have the courage to say that was a mistake and plow it up, but that's what needs to happen. And I hope that our leaders have the courage to do that, because that's a tough call. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Trevor Leonard.
Pulling up a picture here. Trevor Leonard with The Answer, corner of 6th Street, 32 6th Street. I'm going to kind of go where we went several months ago, and it's parking. We're in the same area, sidewalk, it's pretty, but it did take parking away. Several months ago when I came and spoke about the parking situation and specifically tires being marked, it was told, well, hey, you can park over next to the post office, either in front or beside of the post office. There's no time limit over there. Last week, signs were put in, and now there is a time limit. I was told that parking was addressed later in the year, fall, winter, something like that, regardless. They've now made 2-hour parking around the post office in an effort, I believe, to have CenturyLink employees finally use their parking lot. They aren't going to do it. They're just simply not. They're going to take the $16 ticket and they're going to throw it in the trash just like all the other ones that they do, because they've already been told multiple times by several law enforcements. I have been told myself these $16 tickets are non-enforceable. There's no points, there's no insurance, there's no problem with your license or registration, and there's not a collection agency that's going to deal with $16 ticket. You've now gone and put 2-hour parking around the post office, and then today a brand new sign has been installed that says, I quote, "By parking in timed spaces, you consent to your tires being chalked for parking enforcement. That is a violation of my Fourth Amendment right. The Sixth Circuit Court in April found that marking tires is unconstitutional. You do not have the authority to designate a specific area that my constitutional rights are not valid." Those signs need to come down, because they specifically said marking on someone else's vehicle without any necessary, you don't need to. It's my car. I'm not being suspected of anything. You're trying to catch me to do something later in the future. You can't do that. It's against the Constitution. These signs also do not make our city seem very friendly to tourists, and we get a few tourists in Bristol. If this is strictly, there's either one of two things. Either A, it's parking, and Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, it's easy to find a parking space. It always has been. 6:15 every evening is when it gets hard to find a parking space. That's the very time that these signs don't matter anymore. It's either, I don't understand the whole thought process because it's not helping the parking situation. It seems to be, is it about the money? Writing the tickets. It's a $16 ticket. If you want money, need money, sit on the bench in front of my store with me and just start writing the tickets of everybody who rolls through the stop signs. The stop signs.
Thank you.
You know, so these signs are unconstitutional.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert Pilk.
Yes, my name's Robert Pilk. I run Mountain Empire Comics. We're down on the corner of 6th Street and Shelby. And we've been one place or another downtown for 35 years. And the biggest problem that I've seen in all that 35 years is parking. And I don't really have a whole lot of things to add to what the other people have said here tonight. I do think that it would serve everybody if you would tell us what your plans are before you go ahead and implement those plans. It would have been nice for somebody to come down and just talk to the people down on 6th Street. As far as I know, nobody did that. I know nobody talked to me about it. So that would be my point, I guess, to add to the other things. We need the parking back, and better communication would help everybody in the whole city of Bristol, really, but especially there on 6th Street. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Valentina Rose.
Hello. Valentina Rose is owner of Valentina's Design and Alteration on the 6th Street. Probably half of people knows me here. So I've been in the shop almost for 20 years. And before this construction, people always have hard time to get the parking. Since it started, now it's a disaster. Everyone coming to the shop and asking me, what is that? I said, I don't know. Nobody talked to us. We don't have public hearing in. I don't know what's going on when it's all started. Don't have a clue. And everybody, where we park? Well, I don't know. And lately, people running in the shop because they park illegal on that, across the restaurant, the bar where the, tower will be. And they're running like a chicken without head. Running in, throwing clothes. Valentina, a park illegal. I said, calm down. So it's a disaster there right now. Today, even the older person park right in front of my shop, just going, giving me clothes, taking money, whatever. People behind him. And I'm like, to people to behind, like, oh, sorry, thank you, waiting, not turning, whatever. But it is disaster right now. People calling me and saying, well, I don't find the parking space, so somewhere, someday, another day. So another day calling and said, again, I can't find parking space, zipping around. So this is kind of, we're serving people, but that is not happening for people. I don't know who's benefit from that little thing. I see on the street people confused. When they pulling in and they're like, where to go, where to go? They can see that big sign, no parking, but they may think it belongs to that big parking spot. So I see how they confused. To go here, to go there. So was kind of not good decision. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Don Quinn.
I appreciate the time given me this evening. I have a little different take on the situation.
Could you say who
Oh, Don
you-
Quinn. I'm in the Central Building. I have two companies down there. One is the Post-Acute Consultants of Tennessee, which is a medical billing company. The second is the Quinn Organization, which is a small business network and education center. So the billing company, we may have a guest or two for business purposes. In the small business area, it's free. So I allow people to come in there and I give them business advice. I let them use my boardroom for free, et cetera. Obviously, my neighbors, and we have a nice community, as you can tell, of people all up and down 6th Street. And so we were all kind of bewildered what was happening down there, considering there's only one cafe. And, you know, my thinking is if the cafe is going to be there, and one cafe may be using it 15, 20 days a year, we don't know. 350 days, maybe it's not being used. Well, my concern is there's some medical clinic down there, and I think there were probably young folks who may have been a little intimidated to speak here, and so I'm speaking for them without their permission, frankly. Now, they take care of and they see emotionally challenged children and families, and a lot of these folks are disabled, and they do not have the ability to walk from around the corner where the parking might be, so it was very convenient for these disabled people to walk right in front and go right into the building, the 6th Street, the Central Building. I had a look at the parking lot, which is behind the 6th Building. I took a random survey on several days. There's only 5 open spaces, yet 9 spaces were taken. So we're down, at least 5, 6 spaces at any given time. So I guess everyone's kind of upset because we didn't know the plans, and I would like to ask if somebody could literally explain to us, either you or someone else at a later date, what are the plans, where it originated, who approved it, and what's the goal of this plan through 6th Street? So that was what I'd like to say this evening.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks very much. Is there anyone else here who would like to address this issue? That's the last of folks who've signed up. If anybody else would like to address the issue. Seeing none, are we prepared to?
Yeah, I think we can. Tim, if you could put an overhead up.
So we had anticipated, and we certainly welcome you all, and we're so proud of our downtown community and our 6th Street community. And I think we feel like there has been some communication, but certainly maybe not the kind of communication that needed to be effective. So we've got some information that may be helpful tonight, and then we can plan to do some more in the future with talking with folks.
Okay, this is an internal drawing. First, let me say that that this concept came out of a downtown redevelopment study that was commissioned that began last summer, and throughout the fall there were multiple meetings with what we call stakeholder groups, and the downtown community was invited to participate in this. But there were a number of recommendations that came out of this study. One of them was this type of restaurant, sidewalk restaurant cafe venue on 6th Street. Again, there were a number of opportunities for public input during that process. There was also a downtown meeting in January, as Mr. Yonkers referred to, that talked about this particular project. As we moved in toward that project, our community relations department prepared press releases, and Harold Courier covered this with at least 2 articles, maybe more, Leaf. But in any event, this is the concept that you see, and it's again, this is a design document, so it may be hard to see and understand. But the timing, this was always scheduled to be a fiscal 2021 project. So anytime you do projects downtown, they're difficult. You do impact parking, you do impact the lives of individuals downtown, you impact the flow of traffic. You have to work around the various festivals that are occurring in your downtown. So one of the things that we knew we had to do to advance the project was to start on it in early July. And the reason for that is the sidewalk needed to cure to a level. And I think most of us think of sidewalks curing in 24 to 36 hours. But for a sidewalk to truly cure, it takes several months. And this is in light of what we typically see in terms of snow removal in our downtown area as you put the de-icing salt on young concrete. In other words, if we'd waited till, say, October to have poured this concrete, this concrete would not have matured or cured to a point that it would not have been damaged by the de-icing salt. So we needed to get on that initially. Also, what has been ordered at this time that will help with some of the security, I guess, that Mr. Yonkers was referring to. You see the green spaces on this map. These are planter boxes that will delineate the travel way from the sidewalk. And then as a final measure, and I anticipate these to be delivered later this month, and hopefully they're installed prior to the Rhythm and Roots Festival downtown. But also ordered for this particular area are poles to put the decorative lighting, very similar to what you see in front of Blackbird Bakery on Piedmont Avenue. Will feature this area from its southern point where it begins to make its way into 6th Street, all the way north to the point where it pulls back in. So that's the timing, and that's the I guess the theme of the area. And again, this, as well as several other strategies, were recommended for our downtown. But this was an element of 6th Street, and it was designed to create an opportunity for sidewalk cafe utilization. So, and in order to do that, you obviously needed to go through the traffic transition. You couldn't widen the sidewalk without taking the parking places in front. So. Hopefully in time that this will be an area that people will come to recognize as being of a benefit to our downtown.
Can y'all hear me? I feel like my microphone's not working great. So I would say that this is not just for immediate cafe ideas, it's thinking future for our downtown. How can we continue with the vitality and with what has happened with our downtown, what does happen, that sounds better. And so it's looking to the future as well as where things are currently. I will say that with our communication and talking about the January meeting, I think there's like maybe 3 of us who were there, 4 of us who are in the room tonight, maybe a few more with city staff. Anyway, that morning my car was a ball of ice. That was very, very, very cold for an 8 a.m. meeting. So in defense of everyone here for not being able to get to that downtown meeting, y'all were smart to stay home. So anyway, so that's a concept. We will be happy to have some more conversations. We also have Maggie Bishop with Believe in Bristol, who's here tonight and has heard concerns. So we're happy to have more conversations. But I would encourage us all to give it a chance, and let's see what happens a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So I really appreciate y'all coming out, recognize your concerns. We do know that there's parking concerns. My thinking is we need to inventory more how many people live downtown, how many people work downtown, how many long-term parking places do we have, to really get a good idea of what our parking, beyond what we've looked at before. So hopefully we'll be following up with that as well. So thank you very, very much for attending. And if there's no one else, we will move on with our agenda tonight. And the next thing is appointments to community boards, and we have 2 of those. The first one is Public Library Foundation. And I'll say that foundation, when it was formed, just like several of our other boards, they asked for city councils on both sides of town to make appointments. The appointment's for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2022. The candidate is Michael Webb. Is there anybody here who would like to speak on behalf of Michael Webb? If there isn't, I will. That he applied initially and has served a first term and is willing to continue serving. He's on the development committee and is very helpful. Can you all pass your ballots in? Sorry. Yeah. A little focus.
Okay, Powers votes for Michael Webb. Luttrell votes for Michael Webb. Fire votes for Michael Webb. Keene votes for Michael Webb. And Turner votes for Michael Webb.
Thank you very much. And I'll just say we are always really pleased to have people who are willing to serve on our boards and commissions. Some of these are pretty big jobs and certainly responsibilities that come with them, so we appreciate that. Next, we have an appointment made to our Power Board, that's BTES Board. The term of the appointment is for a period ending, of 4 years ending June 30th, 2023. We have 2 candidates, Douglas Harmon and Gary McGow. Would anybody like to speak on behalf of either of the candidates?
I'll just say that I spoke to both these gentlemen previously, and both of them are fine candidates in my opinion.
Great. Thank you very much.
Keene votes for Douglas Harmon. Powers votes for Douglas Harmon. Turner votes for Douglas Harmon. Luttrell votes for Gary McGow. And Fire votes for Douglas Harmon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And the next thing is a first reading of new ordinances, and it's an ordinance to ban multiple street and alley rights-of-way for our new middle school construction project. Mr. Soar, can you review this for us?
Yes, Mayor, this was a topic of your work session last week, and it does deal with the abandonment of 4 public rights-of-way and an alleyway to facilitate the advancement of the middle school. This involves Tremont Avenue, Oakland Drive, and 2 alleyways. Mr. David Metzger, transportation engineer, will detail the issue, but as he makes his way up to the podium, I would like to talk with council briefly about the process. This is before you this evening in terms of first reading. If approved tonight on first reading, then next month we will have a public hearing and then second reading. Also, I would like to mention that this does come for you with a unanimous recommendation from our planning commission from last month.
And before Mr. Metzger starts, he called you a transformation engineer. I heard that. I would think,
he is all of
we
that.
all give David a hand for the work that he does with our race traffic and everything else. So
David does an outstanding job with many hats.
With much transformation in our community. Thank you.
Good evening. Presented for first reading this evening is an ordinance to abandon the 4 public rights-of-way that are in your packet and that appear on the screens. The map that's on the screen shows the adjacent properties that are already municipally owned as gray outline. Some of those are existing school properties and some are for other purposes, such as the housing authority. The city, of course, as you know, has recently gone through the process of acquiring the 21 residential properties that are in this block. Those are shown on the map in solid gray. And so they completely encapsulate the 4 public rights-of-way that are within this block, which is 1 block of Tremont Avenue, 1 block of Oakland Drive, and 2 sections of public alley that are within this block. And so as the city is the sole adjacent property owner, no additional input was required from adjacent properties as far as seeing how we felt with this ordinance. The abandonment is necessary, as Mr. Soar said, to advance the project for expanding the middle school and with the new construction that's coming with that. one of the things that's a little bit unusual about this as compared to other abandonment ordinances is that typically when we abandon a right-of-way, we take a blanket easement for stormwater and utilities, that the whole former right-of-way was automatically an easement. That is not the case in this particular one, because the individual easements as for the requirements of the middle school building will dictate where those easements go, because part of the footprints of the building will actually lie on top of where these rights-of-way are right now. I'd like to point out that the city's ability to abandon the right-of-way is exclusive of the city's ability to physically close the roadways. They have been physically closed since the end of June for work zone safety as demolition of these properties continued. Preparation was started on various parts of the middle school project. This has gone to the Planning Commission at their July meeting, and they did unanimously recommend for an approval of this abandonment ordinance. So if you have any questions, I'll see if I can answer them.
Anybody have questions? If not, is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Motion and a second. Would any member of council like to discuss?
It's a positive step in the right direction to get the middle school completed.
It also, there are a lot of steps to take to get there, so we're really glad we're being transformative and making those steps. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to address this issue? We really appreciate that neighborhood and the houses that we were able to purchase, et cetera. So we appreciate everybody who's been a part of that in that aspect so far. I think we're ready for a vote.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Fire-Robin?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next item is the first reading of 19.7, amending the access control section of the city's zoning ordinance as it applies to residential driveway connections to the public street. Would you summarize this for us?
Yes, Mayor, I'd be glad to. This was also presented in brief during our work session last week. But this is part of the plan of work of our Planning Commission and our Development Services staff as they've been working through various amendments to the zoning ordinance. This actually came forward, or the impetus for it was developed through an appeal that went before our Board of Zoning Appeals earlier this year. And, currently our access ordinance restricts a driveway connection to the public right-of-way to 20 feet. An individual had in error constructed a driveway at 24 feet in width and requested some variance as a result of that. As staff looked at this issue, there's really nothing from a safety standpoint that could be drawn that would prohibit or be a problem with expanding the width of the driveway connection from 20 to 24 feet. Other communities, as they've conducted their research, did have this type of width. So this was brought forward in discussion with the Planning Commission. Planning Commission unanimously recommended this. Much like the abandonment of the right-of-ways, this does require a process. First reading will be considered this evening. If approved on first reading, a public hearing and second reading will be scheduled for your September meeting. And with that, Mr. Jacob Chandler, City Engineer, will be here to detail the proposed amendments.
Good evening. Thank you. Like Bill said, over the past few months, we've actually had a couple cases come to the Board of Zoning Appeals. We've had some property owners build their driveways in excess of the 20-foot standard that we currently have in the ordinance. So the Board of Zoning Appeals recommended that we take a look at our current ordinance, and we looked at a lot of different communities, including TDOT and VDOT, to see what their standards are. So one of our recommendations is to widen the driveway width to 24 feet, but it also gave us a chance to look at the rest of the ordinance section and see if we can make some improvements. A couple of the improvements we've made is under 6A, we clarified that this part of the zoning ordinance applies to the driveway only inside the public right-of-way. Once you get off the right-of-way onto private property, a property owner could bump out their driveway width to whatever they need to make turning movements. Second issue we dealt with a few times was circular driveways. We've had owners in the past ask, can they build basically a U-shaped driveway through their property? So after looking at a lot of different communities, we decided that the maximum driveway width would be 24 feet. But if you had a circular driveway, the combined width would also be 24 feet. So you could have maximum 12-foot wide circular driveway. And just for safety issues and access issues, we felt that the distance between those two driveway sections should be at least 30 feet. And then we revised the table to talk about the access way for single-family and duplex uses. In this table, we did increase the maximum width to 24 feet. At the July Planning Commission meeting, they did vote unanimously to provide a favorable recommendation for City Council to adopt this revised ordinance. So if you got any questions, I'm here to answer.
Anybody have any questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Would anybody like to discuss this issue? I would just thank the BZA for sending it, and certainly is good to be responsive to citizens' needs. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to address this issue? Joel Staten, you're good? He's on BZA. So I think we're ready to vote.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
The next issue or item is an ordinance to amend the zoning map from by designating certain property as M2. We saw that presented to us previously and had opportunity for comment. So is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, since the public had opportunity to comment, I believe we're ready to vote.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
So on our consent agenda, we take those all as one without discussion. And Mr. Soar is going to read them, and then if anybody wants to remove any item from, any city council member wants to remove an item, we can do that.
Okay, Mayor. First, we have the minutes of the July 2019 City Council meeting. The minutes of the July 29th, 2019 City Council called work session. Minutes of the July 30, 2019 City Council work session. Resolution 1982 approving a grant agreement with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for transit operating assistance. Resolution 1983 authorizing participation in the PEP Safety Partners Matching Grant Program. Resolution 1984 awarding a bid for ambulance cot and mounting system. Resolution 1985 authorizing the city to enter a First Amendment to a lease agreement with Teneva LLC. Resolution 1986 authorizing the use of public property and public right-of-way for temporary service of beer. Resolution 1987 designating members of the City Council to serve on city boards and quasi-municipal and non-municipal agencies. Resolution 1988 awarding a bid for Fairmount Elementary School sidewalk pending TDOT concurrence. Resolution 1989 authorizing entry into an engineering services agreement for Fairmount Elementary School sidewalk project. Resolution 1990 authorizing entry into an engineering services agreement for Bluff City Highway sidewalk design, and Resolution 1991 authorizing entry into a commercial lease agreement for office space with City Center LLC.
Would anyone like to remove any of those items? If not, we're ready to vote.
Need a motion.
I need a motion. Thank you. Keep me straight.
A motion to approve the consent agenda, August 6, 2019.
Second.
All right. Now we're ready to vote. Thank you.
Luttrell?
Yes.
Turner?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
All right, next we are ready for our Board of Education Liaison report from Dr. Tudor. While she comes forward, I'll recognize other folks who are here. Former Mayor Joel Staten back there with his wife Peg. Dr. Browder's here from BTS, and Larry Clark, who's chair of BTS board. Maggie Bishop with Believe in Bristol was here, and also she disappeared, Melissa Mullins, who's newly appointed to our library board. So we welcome everybody to be here. Did I get everybody? So, okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. In case you haven't noticed, because it is August, we did start school this week, so summer vacation is over for us. We were excited to welcome back almost 4,200 students yesterday, so that was a big day for us. Yesterday was a half day. Tomorrow's our first full school day, so I'd like to take a moment and publicly thank the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department with help for traffic around Vance Middle School. That was a significant benefit to us yesterday and will be again tomorrow. We've made some adjustments based on their support and feedback, so we hope tomorrow will go a little bit more smoothly than what we experienced yesterday, but it's a little bit of a challenge. We want to make sure that folks know that they can visit our website. We have a diagram of traffic patterns and suggested flow for our families to drop off and pick up, and we've adjusted our dismissal procedures in the afternoon a little bit so that that should be a little bit smoother and quicker. We've also warned Tennessee High families of that conflict as well. We backed up all over the place. Weaver Pike in front of Tennessee High, on Edgemont, South Side even. So we've adjusted the bus traffic at Tennessee High School to also accommodate what we experienced yesterday. So we're hoping we'll have a little bit better traffic flow tomorrow and the rest of the week. Some of that will just take some time to adjust to, but school construction update. Thank you very much for your support of those rights of way. Yes, we're making great progress. That's exciting for us to see lots of dirt being moved, so we appreciate the support with that. We have established a blog on our website and have invited residents in the area to give us their cell phone number so that we can send out a text message of immediate construction updates, things that involve things such as the blasting that's occurred in our parking lot the past couple of weeks. So we send out a text message and give at least 24 to 48 hours notice of those things, and also post it on our blog, on our website. So I invite you all, if any of you want to be included in those updates, if you'll let me know your cell phone, I'll be happy to include you in that so you get those updates as well. So far we've had positive feedback about that as far as making sure the residents in the immediate area are kept as informed as possible. And as informed as we are as well. Some exciting news. We had RCT Director Deidre Penley applied for grants to the state for career technical education opportunities. We found out just a couple of weeks ago that we were awarded $60,000 for those. There's a middle school grant for $10,000 to start CTE programming in our middle school and allow for professional development opportunities for our teachers in the middle school. There's also $35,000 for equipment at the high school, which will focus on precision measurement instruments, and also $15,000 for industry certifications. If you recall that, the state of Tennessee is really pushing industry certifications, and so we have had the benefit of being able to pay for those for our students the past couple of years, so that cost is not incurred by the students. So it's a great benefit for them. And then finally, we have hot off the press our new school calendars for you all, so I'll leave those with you this evening. Do you have any questions for me about anything?
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Our enrollment, you mentioned it's at 4,500?
4,200, just a little shy of 4,200.
So compared to previous years, how does that, are we maintaining our enrollment? Are we up? Are we down?
We are slightly up. I don't know the exact number, but we are slightly up. We typically don't see a significant increase. We see a steady increase. Our high school numbers are higher overall this year than they've been in previous years, so we sort of see the ebb and flow of different classes that will be large, and then behind them may be smaller. So right now our high school is large. So overall we're pretty stable, but with a little bit of a growth increase. Maybe like 0.5%, nothing significant.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll just say that probably all of us, communication is really important.
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, we up here can do a better job, so we appreciate the blog and the efforts for the school system.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely.
Thank you. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, I do have a handful of dates that I would like to remind City Council of through the month of August and even early September. First, tomorrow is the State of the City's Luncheon at 11:30 a.m. at the Bristol train station. I know all of you all look forward to this event on an annual basis, and certainly it's an opportunity to support our mayor in that address. The following week, really from Wednesday the 14th through Saturday the 17th, it's a big time in Bristol. As I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of events in our community, and this is a huge one. Starting with Wednesday night with the Food City Family Race Night returning to downtown Bristol, and I think it's going to be a night to remember. I know there's been a number of plans in place, and this will be exciting kickoff to Race Week in Bristol. Thursday we'll have the truck race. Friday evening we'll have the Food City 300, followed by Saturday evening with the Bass Pro NRA night race. Remind you of our work session on Tuesday, August 27th. This will be at 5:30 in the annex. Also, the following day on Wednesday, August the 28th, our Chamber of Commerce will have a legislative luncheon. This is a little different take on it. They've historically had a legislative reception during the fall. They're moving it now to a luncheon. But this is a nice opportunity for local officials to engage our state delegation, both Tennessee and Virginia. So I encourage you to keep that on your calendars and attend that. That will also be 11:30 a.m. In the Bristol train station. Also, we'll have and I think ETSU is sponsoring this, so the Regional Economic Development Forum will be Tuesday, September the 10th from 9 a.m. until noon at the Millennium Center, and I think the slate of speakers is to be pretty impressive. I think you'll enjoy that. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Council comments?
I'll just say I attended the National Night Out this afternoon. I went by and it was good to see. Thanks for the police department for doing that. And there was quite a few kids there getting school supplies and having their face painted, and nice event. Thank you.
Did you have popcorn or pizza or both?
I did not have any, but they had plenty.
I had popcorn. So also, can we set up a face painting event for city council members or something? I was impressed to see that happening with your officers, so that was great. Anybody else?
Well, we've got a lot coming up in addition to the race. I believe in Bristol has many different events. You can check their website for specific dates for specific events. Along with that, the BCM has, Birthplace of Country Music has several events. The Ken Burns documentary on PBS will be released in September, and so we really encourage everyone to, be a part of that, take a look at it. Bristol is highlighted in the first 3 episodes, and we've been told that we can expect an influx of thousands of people if it holds true to what has happened typically with the Ken Burns documentaries. And it's great to see all the kids going back to school. Seeing a lot of good things there. A lot of exciting things going on with our economic development. We are very blessed to have the business parks that we have fully infrastructured as we do. And we have such an incredible staff across the board. We really do appreciate everything that y'all do.
I'll say thanks to all of our board members, volunteers, and the like. It takes several hundred folks to serve on our board members and committees, so thanks to all for serving. I want to say thanks also. The Bristol First Award was first set up as a huge task for our staff, but a main point of emphasis for this council for customer service and how our employees treat those that they come in contact with. And we've come a long way with that. So I I want to say especially thank you today to Greg, Robert, Caleb, and Jonathan for their hard work and for that spirit of customer service. I'll also mention, just within the last 2 weeks, I've been in 3 separate cities, Roanoke, Asheville, and also Gatlinburg. And this is sort of a nationwide problem in our downtown. It's a great, it's one of those growing problems that every city has to address. And it is an ongoing discussion amongst us. And it'll be an ongoing discussion going forward. A lot of good ideas have come forward on many fronts, but we will continue to look for that continual answer to the ongoing discussion. And I also think too, sometimes we use many different ways of communications. In many cases, press releases is a good way to do that, but not everybody gets press releases. And not everybody can attend certain meetings. So in some cases, we're going to have to talk about different ways that we can communicate and make sure that the masses are getting those messages about what's going on in our city. So appreciate all the hard work from our employees. We've got a tough week coming up with race week, and we're looking forward to it. So let's all be on our best behavior for those race fans that come in town.
And Mayor, if I could jump back in for just a minute to touch on the parking situation and the Sixth Street situation. I agree with everything that's been said. We appreciate everyone coming out tonight to speak to that. When we did the downtown study, one of the things that was brought out in that study was that Sixth Street could serve as a pedestrian walkway to realizing that we do have the issues that we do with parking, and that parking would eventually be forced to the outer perimeter. Not everybody can park right in front of their favorite restaurant or shop, or and I'm just like everybody else. I mean, I'm trolling around trying to find that parking place. But in the study, it made clear that there would be outer perimeter parking, and so if we could make it as attractive as possible to come into the epicenter of our downtown on State Street, that we would have those attractive thoroughfares. And so 6th Street was considered to be one of those potentially attractive thoroughfares. So I understand we've got work to do perhaps with our communication and getting the word out as to the findings that we truly have in these studies that we recognize as being very forward-thinking and very progressive. And I think that was the intent. And we do need to do a better job of communicating our intent
and listening as well. So I just wanted to comment on our storm recovery. I live out toward Avoca School, and I think we got heavier hit last Thursday than some with flooded basements. And personally, we had 3 trees down that got taken care of today and have a fence still to repair. So I know some folks, and somebody got trees off Volunteer Parkway pretty quickly that had fallen into the roadway. Also, with our national news, just want to say that our thoughts, prayers, and hearts go out to Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, and we appreciate what our employees do every day in helping to protect us and be ready to deal with any situation that we have. School traffic, I would say we also want to get the message out for the next little bit. If people can, who are just doing general business, try to avoid some of those areas during the begin. Just remember, because I know I've gotten to it and it's like, oh, I forgot I could have gone the other way. Just remember which areas to kind of look for as things are settling down. And I know a few schools you want to pretty much avoid them the whole year round during those particular times. Also want to just come in. We've got some changes coming up that are pretty significant. 6th Street how it does. Also, we, on our consent agenda was the engineer's study for Bluff City Highway, which will make a huge difference in what that looks like, and how folks can utilize our streets in our city. So we've got a lot of different things, and maybe we need to figure out how to communicate well for that one too, because that's going to be a huge project. So.
Mayor, that engineering process is probably 18 to 24 months.
I know. When we're ready. We're hoping to have the problem with Cedar Street. I hope we'll fill up the whole place with everybody complaining about Cedar Street. We're ready. We're anytime.
Do you think we'll still be alive when
I
that
don't.
happens?
It probably won't be us.
Anybody's guess.
It'll be somebody else. Anyway, also I'll say that I and Vice Mayor Anthony Farnham were asked to attend a VFW celebration on Saturday night for recognition they received, and it was very nice, and I'm going to talk to our city manager about asking them to come to our September meeting and present us with the recognition. I was very impressed. It was great. And then the last thing I was going to say is there's a transportation meeting with the Energy Department, State Transportation, and TDOT, and Tennessee Department of Energy or something. The end of September, that happens, a conference that happens every year that'll be in Knoxville, and this year they're going to have a little pre-conference on rail. So excited to follow up with that and see what that involves. And we want to support rail every time we can, both passenger rail as well as freight rail. So with that, if nobody else has anything, we're adjourned. Thanks very much.
It can be challenging when caring for a loved one with a medical condition that makes them prone to wandering. One way that the Bristol, Tennessee Police Department helps to ease this challenge is the department's participation in Project Lifesaver.